Here's a video on alternator removal from a Dodge Caravan. This one's an 07 Dodge Caravan. 05, 04, 06, whichever one. They're pretty much all pretty close to being the same. But if you look here, this is everything I took off, including the belt. The belt's still in there, I just left it in there. That's everything that came off to get the alternator out. Started out with the intake housing, the filter housing. Let's take this off first with that. Just unscrews with a flathead here, and then there's a little wire clip back here that has one of those red tabs on it. That comes off at the same time as this. If you loosen this and that, because it sits like this, if you loosen them, you can pull it apart here and pull it off and get this off, which is clipped on right here and here, sorry. And that all sits right there. If you're looking at it, sorry I have it out, but it sits right here and then it connects right to there. And it's bolted on right here, right there with 10 mil, I believe. Yeah, 10 mil bolt, unless yours is different. But you unscrew that first to start, to get that loose and take these clips off. They just pry off on this housing. And this housing sits like that. Oops, sorry. And then you just pull it out like that, up. Oh, and there's a hose right here that connects, I believe it's PVC or PCB. And then you pull that out. This hose right here disconnects from it, it sits like that. And then you pull all that stuff apart, and then there's this that's connected to it. You just push this tab back, squeeze it here and pull it off, pull that stuff off, and you'll have that all open once you get that off. And then you could either take the belt off first or take that stuff off first, but I took that off first, and then I went after the belt, which is behind this shroud that sits underneath there. And if you look here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're just plastic clips. Mine were like this, where this tab just pulls out and then it pulls out, and there's other one with the little fins on it that come out, and that's just under here. That goes right here. You can see one goes there, one up there, there's one still in there, one right there, and one right there. And then I went after the belt. Now if you have the tool to turn the tensioner, I'll just move this out of the way. You see the tensioner right there, it's right there. If you have the tool that would stick in there and pry it down this way, you just pry it down, and you could pull the belt off either one of these pulleys here just to get it loose, and then just let it go, pull the belt all off, and you have access, and your alternator's right there. And while I'm down here, if you look from under here, there's two 15 mil bolts. One there, it's not in there, I took it out already. I believe there's one right there. I'll show you the tools I used right away. These are all the tools I used. I just used a pry bar, 15 mil box end, 15 mil ratchet, 10 mil extension socket, 15 mil ratchet, 15 mil or 8 mil for this piece. I'll explain this piece right away. And a screwdriver, and there's the that's the pulley, the tensioner pulley tool I was talking about. Mine's too small, so I just used a pry bar and pried it in there. If you look here, I just pried it from right there. Sorry I'm so shaky. I just stuck my pry bar in there and rested it against here, and then pried it up or pried it down, whichever way you want to call it, and made it come down this way, and just pried it, and then I was able to get the belt loose. And then once I did all that, I went after this thing, which has two 8mm bolts up here and two 10mm bolts with don't forget that gasket when you put it back together. And that just sits right there. Two 8mm bolts, and then it just slides out. And then two 10mm bolts. In my case, I loosened the alternator already, and then I was able to get at this bolt under here, but I believe, no, I don't think it's in the way. You could still get that extension in there, the 10mm, and get it underneath there, and then get that loose. And then once that gets loose, you just pop this out, and then it slides through there and comes out. And then you go after the alternator. And the alternator, like I said, there's two 15mm bolts there, and then one back there. It's right there, if you could see that. And that's on the alternator. I'll show you on the alternator right away here. But before you do that, sorry, there's a 13mm that holds on that piece, and then there's a wire clip on the back of it right there, and it has one of those red tabs again that has to slide back. You have to do it from underneath, and then you push that little tab there. Sorry, I'm doing this wrong, but it goes in right here on the back of the alternator, and you can't really get it at the top. You have to go underneath and slide that tab, and then you can come up top and then squeeze it and pull it off, and then you get that 13mm. That's to the battery, I believe. Pull that off. Take your three 15mm bolts off. I'll show you that. On the alternator, it's like one there, and one back there, right there. And then there's the 13mm, and then the wire clip that hooks up. And your alternator just slides right out the top after that. Put everything back in reverse as you took it off, and don't lose the little bolts. If you line it all up on the floor or whatever you have, a table, you can take it all out real nice. And that's how I'm doing it. I have my wheels blocked, I'm up on ramps. Safety first. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.